Greetings, beautiful lights. I am back with another esoteric and knowledge video for you all. And today's subject is actually going to be about the merkaba light body, the secrets of light, and what that is all about as it pertains to how we can manipulate our reality. So buckle in, grab something to drink or to smoke or whatever your thing is, and just sit back and relax with me while I break down some of these concepts in a really down-to-earth, easy to understand way for those who are not really so much into science, but understand that science and spirituality are married to each other, and these are some concepts that we can back up with science. So, you know, there's a lot of skeptical people out there who don't believe in the unseen or what they can't grasp with their senses. But many of us know that there obviously is a lot beyond what we can't see with and sense with our physical senses. So this episode is really going to be about the aspect of light and what it's about and how it connects our consciousness to spirituality. Okay, so what is light? Is it just something you turn on to make something brighter? Light a candle, turn on a light? It's more deeper than that. It is intelligence. And I'll say that again. Light equals intelligence. Light is basically a frequency wave. Everything within the universe is light and energy. So, you know, when our consciousness interacts with light, it collapses it into a particle that can be seen with the human eye, because light can convert itself into a particle. And that's what we are as humans. We are a part of the grand sun, the grand light, which is consciousness or God or the all. Whatever terminology you want to use, it's the same thing. We all derive from the great spirit, the great sun, the one that's all. And then this God consciousness split off into trillions and trillions and trillions of individual sparks of the divine, which is you and I. We are all individual expressions or sparks of light that is God. We carry God within us because we are part of God. And so when we split into these separate individual sparks, we manifest ourselves on this three-dimensional plane as particles of physical energy that makes up this physical body, that makes up everything around what we have created. And when I say what we've created, I mean that we are creators because we are a part of God, and we collectively, the all, has created this three-dimensional experience in order to send information back to itself so that it can know everything and be everything, right? So that's why we have to accept everybody in their own individuality, because everyone is simply expressing an aspect of God that is so individual and so unique and not copied by anyone else. So when we are in this state of being in the physical 3D, what we really are doing is we are collecting information on our existence and our reality, and we are sending it back to the source, right? Everything is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, uploading, getting information from our experiences and then uploading it and sending it to the source. So that's what we are. And basically when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself because we are all connected in that way. All of us are creators, and creation begins where? With consciousness, with thought, with mentality. One of the laws of the universe is mentalism, that all is in the mind. Some of you have heard that before. So everything that exists is because of the power of thought creation from a consciousness. Okay, so the mind records every single little thing, everything that happens. If you were to go to, say, a hypnotherapist, and they would hypnotize you to remember something that happened 30 years ago, something really random, like you were walking on the street and you saw this building, and this building had a particular piece of art on it, or some information, or you want to remember the name of someone that you met when you were a child, that you met once, through tapping into your mind, your grand mind, you could remember every single small detail, and all of those details go up. So, and everything that we create comes from the mind, including this matrix, this earth. It's all because we willed it to be so. Okay, so when we go into the power of the mind, we also can tie that in with the actual brain itself. The brain has something called the neocortex, and the neocortex rules conscious thought, spatial reasoning. It sees beyond the veil. What it is, it sees beyond the part of the brain that is just simply human. This is our seat to multidimensionality, is through the neocortex, because we can see beyond what is in the physical. And going back to that, light is intelligence, and everything exists in the 3D is made of waves of light. Everything that you see, like anything, I can pick up my pack of cards, and this is simply energy. This is something that we've created, and that exists because of light waves. But when we look at this as a human being, our consciousness sees this pack of oracle cards and sees it as it is, right? Something physical and solid. But the moment that this is out of our sight, it reverts back to waves of light. It's only when our consciousness as an observer views these physical objects that it collapses into the physical. So light has that ability to immediately, in less time than a blink of an eye, to go from what we perceive as light waves to a physical object. Everything, the chair I'm sitting on, the bed you're sleeping in, the car that you're driving in, your house, everything is just waves of light. To the observer with the human eye, when you're away from, let's say, your house is simply waves of light. When a physical person views it with consciousness, it is then converted, that particle then, that light wave converts into a physical particle. I hope that you're with me here. In a nutshell, our subatomic frequency will reassimilate back into the structure that you know as your house, your pack of oracle cards, the chair you're sitting on. I hope that you can get what I'm saying with that. Light is basically creates everything in our existence. Then you and I, as human beings, exist as both solid matter and waves of light. And consciousness collapses light waves into solid matter. This is a scientific fact, and you can look that up. I highly recommend going to physics.org. They have a lot of information on light. There was a study shown when they first took the first photograph of the wave of light, and it shows how this wave of light collapses into particles. Okay, so light is intelligence, and our human eyes can only detect a small amount of this light. So you're not going to go around seeing all these waves of light everywhere. But if, let's say, you were to see, like if you were to go onto NASA's website, and you would see some of the pictures or videos they have there of different types of light, gamma ray light, ultraviolet light. All of this light exists in all these different colors. It's always around us, but the human eye can only perceive a certain kind of light. But we do have to understand that light is at the basis of everything in our reality. So with that said, we're going to move on to understanding something a little bit more in depth. And speaking of us as human beings, our next topic is going to be about DNA. So DNA can actually store digital information. I'll say it again. DNA can store digital information. Scientists have learned how to actually encode DNA with digital information and data. So like, for instance, our 1 gram of DNA can store 433 petabytes of digital data. And so if our atoms can store data, imagine how much data is stored in your body. Scientists have discovered that the human body can store 13.5 billion years of data, which is the exact age of the universe. So let that sink in. That is the exact amount that is supposed to be the age of the universe. So, we have all of this information, we have all of this power inside of our bodies. A lot of this junk DNA is simply DNA that has been dormant, but that can be reactivated within us. A lot of this junk DNA are actually a lot of abilities that we have that stored in our body that we can access at any time. And this information is uploaded and downloaded constantly, like I said. So speaking of uploading and download, what is Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is light that carries zeros and ones, and scientists have just rediscovered how to turn light into matter. They've done studies, and this is what the ancients have known, that we are doing it with technology, but Thoth discovered, talked about doing it this with consciousness. And this goes back to the Neocortex. Thoth manifested blocks to build megalithic monuments. Does this remind you of the mystery of the pyramids? How is it possible for these people to perfectly align mathematically and scientifically these structures without, heavy labor? Like, how is it possible? It's because everything can be done with the mind. And you'll see a lot of information coming up more and more about vibration being used to move objects. Vibration can be used to move objects depending on what the vibration is or what the sound is. So this is something that we are remembering. Some of us are the ancients returned here, and so we are learning these things, and we're remembering that things are possible. A lot of things are possible through the mind and the human thought. So this is the consciousness that we are trying to ascend to, with the understanding that everything in the universe is made of energy, matter, and light, and that can be manipulated or controlled using conscious thought power. So it's a process for us to get back to where we used to be. We also need to reconnect our energy grids to the earth. This is something that people used to do inherently. There was this electromagnetic connection and communication between human and earth, and that has been lost over time as well. And this is why you'll see like animals running for the hills before like some major natural event or disaster. And sometimes animals know days before they'll go and hide, or they'll go into some other place where they'll know they'll be safe. And this is because they're in tune with the energy of the earth, and they're connected to that. And consciousness is a part also of that electromagnetic field. And we have the capacity to get back into that if you understand that existing in your body is a magnetic field, and your body has the magnetism in it in order to reach these certain levels of connection with energy and earth. We've been distracted and we've been in a state of amnesia for so long, but many of us are reconnecting with these things. So between the neocorrelates of consciousness, the neocortex, and consciousness and the magnetic crystals that are anchored into your physical avatar, you now have a technological device that allows you to upload and download information directly from space-time. So every idea, any information, when people say, oh, I just came up with this idea. No, you didn't. Everything that exists has always existed and always will exist. What you're simply doing is your consciousness is aligning with or downloading that thought into your head. So when people say, oh, I'm getting a download, a lot of people are like laughing at them. Oh, they're crazy. They think they're seeing or hearing something and it's not there. Everyone is receiving a download 24/7, whether you are aware of it or not. If you are wanting certain information, you can align with that vibration and you can download that into your physical avatar. Your physical avatar is almost like a computer. So this is what happens as a result of the electromagnetic field and the neurocorrelates and your magnetite crystals and your consciousness. It matches the subatomic frequency or subspace frequency of what it is you're connecting with, that you're downloading into yourself. And everything is, like I said, about uploads and downloads. There is a video that was done of a study that scientists did where they were experimenting with telekinesis. And this was, they took, a little remote controlled car, and then they put a device on the person's head, and then this person, through mind power, wanted the car to move forward. And so that's what would happen. And how that happens is because of the connection that we have. And there have also been instances where, and I'm going to try to see if I can find this video so that I can post it so you can see it.
The brain crown, okay.
And then this goes behind the ear, so we'll just slide this down.
Okay. So this is my brain right now.
This is your brain right now.
Oh my gosh.
In real time.
This is wild.
It's pretty wild. What you're seeing is the localized activity right now and the concentration of activity. So if there's a particular area that there's a huge amount of synchronization and activity, then you'll see it light up. So right now we're seeing a lot of activity there in the frontal and then parietal occipital. So parietal occipital
because I'm watching this.
Yeah, so we can look at facial expressions. So we can tell if you're blinking, you're winking, looking left and right, furrowing your eyebrows, raising them in surprise, smiling, clenching your teeth because you might be nervous. So all of those things we can detect very, very easily.
Emotive has been prototyping its wireless EEG technology for the past few years. Proven in the research sector, they are now developing a consumer product for market.
So this is a really simple use case scenario where the idea is I can just will this car to drive forward just with my thoughts.
There you go. There you go.
The way that the detections work is that you show the machine learning algorithms how you think about driving the car forward.
When you understand that your mind can control matter, manipulate matter, this is where we're talking about creator energy. This is where we're talking about remembering the god-self. This is why when you hear men say, I'm a god, or women say, I'm a goddess, people, that's usually met with negative reactions, right? Like, how dare that person? That's blasphemous for them to say, I'm a god or I'm a goddess. But is it really? Because when you have come to that point where you understand that the mechanics of these things and that you can literally create and control things with your mind, that is a creator energy, okay? So no one is trying to be against God or say they are bigger than God. We are a part of God, and we are gods and goddesses in that aspect. Every thought that you ever think goes out into space-time and stays there forever. all of the television shows that we watch, their radio shows, those waves go out into the ether and stay there forever. So if there's some civilization millions of years from now were to somehow connect with that frequency, they could actually see that television show or hear that podcast or radio show, because frequency and thoughts, remember, are zeros and ones, and the language of the universe is mathematics. So we're, this is the way it goes. So everything in existence, like I said, has existed, will, and always will exist. And it's just a matter of connecting with the frequency in order to view it, so to speak. This is why, my friends, thought is so powerful. The things that you think, because the things you think are energy and creation and waiting. So if you have a negative thought, this can impact the people around you. If your field is low, this impacts the people around you. So, everything you do affects the energy field around you. So if there's people around you and you're in a high vibration, you have the potential to bring those people up. If you are around someone that's in a low vibration and your frequency isn't strong enough, that person will bring your vibration down. And unless you have the strength to shield yourself against that, you will be at the whim and the mercy of anybody with a low vibration and it brings you down. So we have to learn how to shield ourselves. What I do, for instance, like when I go out into a crowd or public place, I shield myself with a bubble of white light that I see coming down from above and then surrounding my entire body. I do this with my child as well. It's a protective thing. So, you can carry your own frequency and universe around you. You don't have to allow what's in your surrounding environment to bring you down. If you have that self-knowledge and understanding to create that energetic field, because we're all a field, right? But we have the capacity to shield ourselves from lower vibrations and to walk in our own vibration and frequency. You're just like a bubble of your own universe walking around. So we can always do that as well. You ever have a situation where someone walks in the room and you can just kind of feel the energy in the room shifts? This is how we can be as well. We can walk into a room and our vibration can be so high that it shifts the ions in the air and it shifts the actual frequency and vibration of the space that we're entering. So we have to keep in mind that we can also positively affect a space that we go into at any time. So be aware of that as well. So we have to be aware of consciousness as a whole. Planets are conscious. Stars, moons, everything within the universe has its own consciousness and its own frequency. I believe it's NASA. If you were to go on, NASA has actually recorded all of the vibrations that all the planets and the moons make, like the sounds. And every different planet has a different frequency, just like all of us have our own different frequency. And if you were to download those sounds from the planets and play them back slow, it actually sounds like talking, like communication or conversations. Yeah, so that's interesting. So by the same token, our electromagnetic fields also affects our planet Earth that we're living on. Human beings have been like a virus to this planet. So we're now trying to get back into harmony with the planet and the universe. Everything goes out. Every thought form goes out and is downloaded into the planet Earth as well. So by being mindful and conscious of our thoughts, we can also positively affect the planet as well. And so, like I said, all thoughts stay in the ether. And this is why we have something called the Akashic Records, because every human being that has ever that exists now, and that will exist in the future, that information is already in the Akashic Records, because everything is already happening. everything is happening at once. What we consider past, present, and future is happening at once. And it's simply a matter of tapping into the frequency to download the information into this physical avatar computer body, which is what we have. Our bodies are a computer. So yes, this human avatar acts as a computer. And remember the zeros and ones that I told you about? There was a discovery, I'm going to say discovery, but the people of Mali, which is the Dogon people, they actually discovered something called the Andinkra codes. And this is, like I said, a series of zeros and ones. And this is basically how everything is created. And thousands of years ago, they discovered this, by the way. And it's depicted in artwork. You'll see it, you know, they've broken it down into a 3-dimensional structure so that we can actually understand what we're seeing. But the interesting thing is that these same exact codes are what we use today for search engines and browsers. Zeros and ones. So the ether of space-time that we're living in is the same programming code that runs all of these things like websites and the internet and things like that. So think about what that means for a moment. So now I'm going to talk about manifestation. Why the sudden change from electromagnetic fields and zeros and ones to manifestation? Because I'm going to show you how it's all tied in. So when we think something, right, and we've been hearing this before, when we have an intention, set an intention, and we picture and visualize this happening, it's already so in the universe. But as I said before, our manifestations take time to trickle down from the 5D into the 3D because it's denser here. So in that time that it takes to trickle down, the 3D, we're not really living in real time. We are on a delay, so to speak. So like, for instance, you have a cable TV and then you go and you turn your satellite TV in another room. The cable TV is going to play what's happening now. But the satellite TV, that signal has to go up to space and then come back down to Earth. And that's why it's on a lag. The same thing is happening here when it comes to the 3D and our manifestations. We are not in real time. It takes it time to go through all these dimensions and things to get to 3D to manifest. So this is why, you know, we have to like really be potent with our manifestations, because you have to understand that it is already happening, but it takes time to come down into this program, this matrix that we call, you know, the 3D. So we have to keep that in mind when it comes to that. Now, what I really wanted to also dig into in this episode or this video was the merkaba light body. Merkaba literally means to light, spirit, and body. And the merkaba symbol is made in the shape of two intersecting, let me see if I say this right, tetrahedrons. They're shapes. And it's made of two intersecting tetrahedrons that spin in opposite direction, and they create a 3-dimensional energy field. And so that is what the merkaba body is created from. It's basically it's the fundamentals of the seed of life, and that has 6 circles. You may have seen this symbol, 6 circles around the 7th circle. Also, when we think of things like Metatron's cube, Metatron is an angel, and that was known as the scribe of God, and that Thoth was also considered the scribe of God. And so inside this Metatron cube is a form called a vectory equilibrium, and a source of unparalleled power. And inside this merkaba is that form, which is literally the source of 0-point energy. And this is the place where everything can happen. The 0-point field is where everything is created. Everything that is possible is born or birth. So anything that you think of or that you want to create, whether it's something you want to manifest or a particular timeline you want to align with or attract to yourself. When you picture and visualize that and you feel the feelings and you put the intention out there, it's already in existence. But you know that you have to wait for that manifestation to appear in the physical, but it is already in existence because of the 0 point field. And this is why we are gods and goddesses, because we have this ability to create. We don't even know the power that's in us. We have no idea. We've been walking around in a state of amnesia for so long. It's time to remember. So with the merkaba, we have the ability to transport ourselves to any other reality, any other dimension that we choose. This is because of the consciousness. And by tapping into energy, you can create portals and wormholes in space-time. And so some of these ancient sages like Thoth talked about these things. And if you want to learn more about Thoth or the emerald tablets and things like that, these are all ancient texts that have been, I don't want to say hidden because it's there if you really want to learn it. Right now, fortunately, because we have the technology we have, we can basically learn anything we want to. The education system doesn't teach us these things, but we can teach ourselves these things. The archaeologists that specialize in translating things like that from papyrus and all of these ancient tablets and things, this information is here. This information has always been there, but it's here for you to learn if you want to. So it's very, very interesting if you want to go and you want to learn more about Thoth and the emerald tablets, or the creation story behind seeding life on Earth via the Anunnaki, which the Anunnaki came from the star system that we know as Sirius. I won't get into that now because this is for you to research if it's something you want to research. I just wanted to let you know that the merkaba body is the seat in which we can travel interstellar, interdimensional, whatever, in different points in time and space. So in order to get into that merkaba meditation state, we have to do some sort of preparation. One of the things is to be mindful of what we eat, and understand that the energy body requires energetic foods, high vibrational foods. We're talking plant-based things like that, fruits, vegetables, lots of fresh water. Not saying that you have to be vegan in order to be able to do a merkaba body meditation. You absolutely do not have to. And one of the things I've been like reiterating is the fact that we all are different. We all have different bodies and different makeups. So your body may not require you to be vegan 100% of the time. Only you can listen to your body. Your body is an intelligent being as well. All of the cells within our body have consciousness and intelligence. We can certainly talk to our bodies and communicate with our bodies if we learn how to tap into that. So before we go into something as intense as a merkaba meditation, we have to make sure that the temple is clean and pure. And that does require more alive foods. So we're talking not meat, not processed, not canned, anything like that. We are talking about foods and beverages that are of the 520 megahertz frequency, and that's the frequency of love. So you want foods that are made of love energy when you're going to be doing this type of meditation. One of the ways that we can lighten our load, so to speak, or to also lighten up the frequency of our soul, is to purge ourselves of negative energy within our DNA that we have that goes back generationally. Now, what I'm going to talk about now specifically has to do with Black people and the PTSD trauma of slavery. Anyone can listen to this because we know there are other groups of people who have had intergenerational trauma that is living inside their DNA. So this can apply to you as well. When I say intergenerational trauma for us in the African diaspora, what I mean is some of us experience things like depression, anxiety, sadness, and before no reason. Maybe you have no logical reason to feel these things. Maybe you're anxious. You wake up one day and you're just scared or tired or depressed. A lot of this is in our DNA from all of the hundreds of years that we suffered, all of the separation from our family and our culture and religion, our homeland, the trauma of the constant whippings, rape, all of these things are in our DNA. And scientists have shown that this trauma can live in our DNA for 15 to 20 generations, right? So what we need to do is learn how to rewrite our DNA as a people and as an individual so that we can ascend higher, so that we can have access to higher frequencies and within our own minds as well, because that frees our minds to live a better life, a healthier life when we rewrite our DNA. And what we can do is to look in the mirror every day, and I want you to write down 10 positive affirmations that you feel about yourself, that you love or you like about yourself. And I want you to repeat these affirmations every day, 3 times a day for 21 days. At this point, you are rewriting your DNA. At this point, when you speak these affirmations out, your body, your cells, like I mentioned earlier, your cells are intelligent. Your body is conscious and intelligent as well. When you speak these somatic frequencies of positivity and affirmations out, your body, which, our body, what is our body? Consciousness and mostly water. And we know water retains memory, right? So when we speak these somatic frequencies into our bodies and then it gets absorbed into our bodies, we are now in the process of rewriting our DNA. This is power. This is power. And, if you don't share all of this video, if you share this portion of the video, I'm probably going to cut this part also and make a separate video. And I want you to share this with Black people everywhere in the diaspora who are interested in understanding more why we have things in our DNA that comes from the times of being enslaved here in the Americas. And that we also have the power to change that and to create a new genetic code to pass on to our future descendants and future generation. And that, my dears, is to create creator power as well. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I appreciate all of my new followers and people that have donated. I send so much love and blessings to you. You guys have no idea how, I wanted to build this channel on YouTube and also on, other platforms to share information, because we're all on this human journey together. And the only thing we can do is to love and support one another. So this is how we create a new earth, and this is how we create new realities, is by sharing love and sharing knowledge. So if you like this video, please subscribe and share. And I'm also available for personal intuitive readings and intuitive energy healing as well. Reach out if you're interested in those things. And I do want to wish you a blessed day. Love, light, and bliss.